Welcome to TowerPod.com. With me today is the band Damone, and I've got Noel and Mike here. And their new record is called Out Here All Night. The record just came out this week, May 23rd. Congratulations. And,
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is your second album, correct?
It is, yes.
But your first one for Island Def Jam. And there's kind of a story there in between records, isn't there, about how...
Yeah, the first one was on our RCA. We put it out with them, and nothing really happened. And we were ready to start the new cycle, and they were kind of like sitting on their thumbs. And so we started recording on our own dime and at our apartment. We all had to get jobs and stuff, and then we were halfway through recording, like about 30 songs is pretty much what we ended up recording, and we switched to Island Records. We met up with them, and the day after we signed papers to get off RCA, we showcased for Island and agreed to sign a contract with them, and they agreed to let us continue self-producing it, the record that is, and that was like a 2-year period between then and now, or 3 years actually.
Yeah, Island's been really great to us. Right after we decided to jump ship and go with them, they just kind of gave us some ideas and let us run with them on, like she said, on our own time and our own money, and we did them in Noel's apartment. 90% of the records we just did ourselves, right to Pro Tools in a bedroom. It was pretty neat. That's
pretty wild. So was that a good experience for you in terms of like having total creative freedom, or?
Yeah, it was really stressful at the same time because it feels like you're writing a record to sort of save your life, if that makes sense. I mean, all of us are just kind of packed in there. We're like, well, if this doesn't work, then it's hang it up, pretty much. So there's a lot of, you could feel the sense of almost there's a sense of urgency in a lot of the tracks that's kind of underlining, which gives it this sort of extra energy that's, I don't know how to explain it really.
And so a lot of the record, though, was recorded in Noel's apartment, right?
Yeah. Well, there were drums and rhythm guitar and bass cut at like this small studio, still with a lot
Not
of
all of it,
limitations.
Though.
Yeah, a lot.
Some of it. I mean, most of the drums, I think all the drums were cut at the studio. Some guitar stuff, some overdubs, and some bass. And then some of it was just we set up in the apartment.
Well, it sounds great. If you thought about turning that apartment into like a full-time studio.
Well, if you can deal with neighbors banging on the ceiling.
Yeah, we're on the second floor of a 2-family house, and our downstairs neighbors get kind of bummed and knock at the door at like 5 in the morning, screaming at us.
Are you still in that same apartment?
Yeah, I share it with Dustin, another roommate. So we had the engineer with his Pro Tools rig in Dustin's room, and then the mic cables going through the kitchen and out the windows into my room down the hall. And my room's like really small. That's where we tracked vocals, and it was interesting.
Yeah, but it kind of forces you to be pretty creative.
Yeah, and it's great and stressful at the same time, like Mike said.
So a lot of these songs, it seems like you're quoting a lot of your influences too. Like I had noticed Get Up and Go definitely had some elements of Motley Crue and Andrew WK, and then Out of the Way, I felt like there's a couple of licks in there that kind of had the Poison vibe to it. Was
kind of, yeah.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, was that a conscious decision then, I assume?
Writing-wise, no. After it comes together, yeah, just like, well, let's just run with it. It worked once, and we do like these bands. We like the songs. I mean, we even mentioned bands' names. We mentioned Oasis in a song, and
yeah.
I mean, there's The End of Tonight that quotes kind of the Beatles, and you know.
Yeah, it's definitely your vibe, but you could see where you pull from those influences and make it your own thing.
I think if you're gonna take something, just take it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, not to the point where it's copyright infringement, but let's like let it know that like this is where it comes from.
So it seems like you guys have already run through the behind the music thing even before you've kind of gone huge, and so. Do you think that makes you stronger and then going forward, or do you have more adventures to look forward to?
Both.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Both.
I mean, we're not huge by any means.
But we have quite a history, as does every band, really, I think.
Think it's made you stronger then?
Oh, yes, yes.
Oh yeah, well, every experience. I mean, especially if you can make it through some tough things and overcome it. Anything in life, I think, just takes you to another level of where it's a little bit more empowering.
Now, I saw the PSA that was on YouTube. Was that your idea, or how did that come
Whose idea was
about?
that?
Well, this young dude in the art department of
Steve.
Island, Steve Penta, it was pretty much his idea, I believe. He wanted, well, it was this whole thing to get it in Best Buy in their circular, and you
Right.
hear it first section of the
Just
circular.
tell people what it's about, just in case
Yeah,
no
we're
one
just
has
trying to
seen
keep
it
it
yet.
light, I think. We were trying to make something that would sort of get the buyer's attention, and then at the same time just be like, look, this is fun, and something
Well,
people are going to enjoy watching.
it wasn't meant to be publicly
No.
viewed, though, but that's what happened, and it's like,
It
it's
came
all
out
over
pretty.
the
It
internet.
came one of those things
so-
that just kind of you started just doing it as a quick little, hey, pay attention to us, and it turned into
Right.
where it ended up on the web, I think.
And the whole subject, just so people know, is that, kind of helping out a rock band today.
Right, yeah,
and,
yeah. It's kind of like a Sally Struthers vibe.
Yeah,
Right.
Like, help us save the
Yeah, it
broke
was great.
rock
It
save the
musicians.
music kind of thing.
Yeah.
So where do you think the whole rock scene is right now, in your opinion?
I think it's on its way back. Its resurgence of rock is I don't mean to judge any other bands, but there has been kind of a lull in
Oh, yeah.
in rock these days, or the last.
I'm not even sure if it's the
few
bands.
years.
There's always these creative bands under the radar. But, I
Right,
mean, with
yeah.
with the state of labels and with the music changing, like how people get music changing with iPods and MP3s and all that, and nobody wanted to take a chance. And when you're not taking a chance with any type of art, it's going to suffer. And I mean, there was bands doing interesting things, but they weren't getting signed because if somebody signs an act and it doesn't catch on, everyone gets fired. That's my opinion. I don't know the ins and outs of the industry, but that's
Well,
what
it seems to
like.
go in waves in the mainstream, but it's always there. Like, rock hasn't gone anywhere. It's
No,
just that,
no.
Whether it's at the top or whether it's just brewing.
It just when rock and roll is safe, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, and there's so many people that, rock and roll is in their hearts and it lives. They're the people that kind of come out of the woodwork and are just like, you guys, you're bringing it back, and the bands like, well, there are a ton of new bands that we're going on tour with and stuff, Bullets and Octane and Valiant Thor and Rock and Roll Soldiers. They and Buck Cherry's putting out a new record, and all these rock bands are bringing it back.
And it's a little bit of both, I think. You need to have, it's got to be entertainment. The music has to be good, and it has to be something that's going to capture your attention. That's why, if I was a 16-year-old kid, especially 5 years ago, and you had some band that was staring at the floor kind of complaining about, their parents or something, and then you had 50 Cent who's been shot 9 times, and just like, yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you going to, you're a 16-year-old kid or 14, and you're mad and you got to go to school and your parents are on your ass, and
Right.
what are you going to be drawn to, and what's more entertaining? And
Well, kids do get drawn to the emo stuff because they're like, oh, woe is me. These people are my age crying about the same things I have, just like
but even that's
emotion.
kind of fading, I think.
Well, it is, but it's not really. It's kind of makes kids think that there are all these problems that they really don't have. Like, these emo kids are probably got millionaire parents and they're just
Right.
crying about
Usually.
nothing,
And you're here to remind them, have a good time.
Yeah,
Wake
I
up.
do. It's
absolutely.
the idea of
Yeah.
that, hey guys, remember in music and in culture that the past 10 years has brought us, well, every family is dysfunctional, and I have a heroin addiction. It's kind of like, wait a minute, wake up. Most of these problems we have in our country, we bring on ourselves. So forget about it, and there's a lot of other problems that we could forget about too, or at least focus on those, and then let's not sweat the small stuff and enjoy life for a little while.
Yeah.
Very cool. Tell me a little bit about your music video for Out Here All Night. It looks like it's kind of a takeoff on some of the 80s horror movie kind of things.
Yeah, there was this idea that I had kind of for a long time, just making a video that was in the woods at night, running around and having like a dark vibe to it. And we had a small budget because it was done with MTVU.
Yeah.
So some college kids, a few groups of college kids sent treatments to us. We chose one group of kids, and then they put the ideas to make it like a 70s horror movie.
Oh, cool.
Or that's the vibe that they got from what we were telling them what we wanted. So they put in kind of references from the movie Evil Dead,
Right.
like a drumstick through the foot and like hands getting cut off and stuff. But we didn't get to show too much blood because they kind of, MTV doesn't like showing that
It's kind of
much.
gory as it is.
Yeah, but it's very much along the lines of like campy, tongue-in-cheek sort of.
The thing that was
horror
neat about the
movie.
video, I think, is that it was in the same vein that we did our record in, is working with the kids at MTVU and the people there. It was very similar to the way that we did our record, where it was just like nobody really knew exactly what we were doing.
Right.
You know?
You just went and did it.
We just did it. And like if we had an idea, we'd be like, all right, let's try it. And that was
So-
pretty neat, you know?
Were they college kids then who
I think they were graduate students. They seem a little bit older.
Yeah.
film school?
Film students.
Okay.
But they knew exactly what they were doing when it came to the technical, just like we knew how to use Pro Tools and play our instruments and stuff.
Right.
But how it was going to turn out, and you know, it wasn't like this. It was a little bit of trial and error on low budget, and it was pretty much whatever we wanted we could do. And like I said, it was the same way with the record, where we knew we wanted to keep it in the guidelines of something that's going to work. And it wasn't this complete art experiment, but at the same time, we had control over how it came out, and that was pretty neat also.
So would you be open to doing those kind of collaborative
Oh,
efforts in the future?
Yeah, it's
Totally.
it's so much more fun that way because you're all working together instead of.
Right.
I mean, you're still being directed and told what to do.
But it doesn't feel
it's-
like a us against them. And I've worked in studios where it's when there's somebody just kind of taking what you have and you know what works in a studio environment, and they're telling you you can't do that or you have to do it this way. And
Right.
you know, it's frustrating. Well, I don't know anything about making a video, but I knew like, oh, let's try this, and then you can have somebody there that knew how to make that happen, and it was pretty neat.
Right. You just figure it out.
Yeah, let's figure it out right now, and I'm happy with the video. You know,
Yeah, I thought it was great.
yeah, I'm amused.
Definitely. So you've got a lot of cool shows coming up. You're playing at the HFS Festival in DC, and you're going to be playing the Warped Tour. Are there any shows in particular you're looking forward to?
Well, we're actually doing a co-headlining tour with the Lashes, which we're all really excited about. We've heard a lot of good things about them, and then we're doing Canada dates with All American Rejects,
Oh, that'd be
and
fun.
I love Canada, and
too.
everyone loves.
And you're
Canada.
doing Edge Fest up there, right?
Yep.
Which is huge.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's their big. I think it's on Canada Day up there. And it's
Oh, no way.
Yeah, you're gonna see a
Ooh.
lot of people painting their faces.
Oh,
Cool.
I like that.
Canada's a neat place.
Yeah, and Warped Tour is always so much fun. We have a lot of friends playing it too, which is just it's a big
Well,
party.
Les and Jake will be back this year.
Are they really?
Yeah, I
They
need my
run.
neck cracked. I gotta talk to Chris.
Well, cool. Thanks so much for being
Thank
on
you.
towerpod.com. And the website is damone.net. And the new record is Out Here All Night, available at all Tower Records stores and online at tower.com. Thanks for being
Yes.
here.